Well, yesterday in the morning when I got up, it was blowing and raining. It was windy and raining, and flying was quite out of the question. Today, they're still calling for pretty high winds, and indeed we've got some quite substantial winds. I'm having to be careful things don't blow away. The Fun Cub there, which is a fairly big plane, pretty much nearly blew right off the table a minute ago. It's windy. At times it goes up and down, but it's pretty gusty, and it's kind of cold as well. But you know, it's getting towards the end of the year, so you're not going to get too many more opportunities. So I figured I'd come out, even though it is pretty windy. But I wasn't going to bring out what I was originally wanted to fly, because I wanted, I had a couple of little things I'd repaired, but they're not going to handle the wind. So I brought out some stuff that should be able to handle the wind. And I'm going to try the UMX Timber first. He generally handles wind well. With all this wind, I really don't think we need flaps for takeoff. Now, see, I mean, he takes off next to instantly. You can see the lights nicely in this weather. Oh, God, see how windy it is? He can handle wind, this guy, but he's got a fair amount of power and he's quite able, but it is windy.
Experienced mode.
Stabilization off. It's a bit of a bitch to do anything in this weather. You know, easterly winds unusually, not that unusually, I mean not unheard of, but the prevailing winds in this area are more westerly.
Time remaining 6 minutes.
So you'd normally land and take off from my left to my right, but today it's the other way around. There's a fairly strong wind coming from my left. And not a steady wind either. A steady wind's easier, because at least then your plane's just, in a steady wind. But this is gusty, comes and goes. You're actually glad of the lights in this condition and with all this wind. It's definitely, I mean, I maiden this guy in fairly windy conditions, and he's of all the microplanes, well, the Waco and the UMX J3 Club handle wind pretty well as well. They've got AS3X. They don't have a safe, but they have AS3X, and they handle wind pretty well. But
time remaining.
This guy handles the wind best of all of them. I don't know. Trying to get fancy with him in this wind is a bit iffy, because you don't know where he's going to end up when the wind gusts up. And the other planes I brought today, I brought the Fun Cub, which is a big plane with a lot of power. Again, well, not again, because this guy does have stabilization, but the Fun Cub has no stabilization of any kind. It's just got a straightforward little lemon receiver that I put in it. I bought it as an ARF. But it's got a lot of power, so I'm hoping it can handle this wind okay. And the Moa glider, the FMS Moa glider I bought recently, which as a glider should be able to fly in some wind, although again he's not the most maneuverable and controllable planes under power. He glides okay, but sort of okay, he glides fairly decently. This is sorry, I'm wandering on about other planes, not the one I'm flying. This is the UMX Timber, which is a great little plane by anybody's standards. In fact, they've done so many variations. They brought the full-size Timber out with floats out first. What is it? I forget. 1.5 meter, is it? I forget. No, maybe smaller than 1.3. I don't know. The original one, the first Timber, which I have. Then they brought this out, which is really just a scaled-down version of that. It's exactly the same proportions. And now I see they have two new versions of the Timber, neither of which I've flown or actually seen in real life. They have a turbo Timber, which is a sort of slightly sleeker up engine version, I guess. And they have a smaller version, also 1.1 Timber X, which is more designed to be a 3D version, which is a bit weird, I would have thought, because it's an adaptation you can do. The Timber was originally designed as a short takeoff and landing plane, a STOL plane. I do not have the whatchamacallums, the slats on this version, on the UMX, because I put them on the big one and they give him more lift, but I mean, to what degree do you want him to have more lift? That's the thing. I mean, it depends what you're trying to do. And if you're trying to do any sort of aerobatics with him, in a sense, the extra lift's more of a nuisance than an asset. And he's got lots of lift without it, especially with a flap. So I decided not to put the slats on this version. I've got them, you can just stick them on, but they come with it and it's optional whether you stick them on or not. But they do have to be stuck on, so they're not something you can put on one day and take off the next easily. And I figured we'd leave them off this guy, which I think was the right. Oh, we should bring him in. And I think I'm just going to cheat and put stabilization on to take him on. Bring him in just in case, we get a big gust of wind as I'm trying to bring him in, it'll help. I'm going to bring him down. He doesn't much want to come down. Of course, now again, this is again with all the lift. See, he doesn't want to come down. I'm trying to bring him down now. He's been tending to gain altitude. Nothing wrong with the plane, it's just, it's windy. It's just windy, so it's hard. We'll fly him down to the runway here now. Upwind. There you go.
Throttle cut on.
We'll, what you're gonna do. He takes off. He takes off fine off the grass with this. He'll taxi fine. What do you want to? Oh well, it's windy. I'm trying to taxi him without taking him off, but it's a bit hard in this wind, and he's very prone to take off anyway. But he will, because he has those fairly big wheels. He will take off on the grass. And he'll land on the grass up to a point. He still has a bit of a tendency to tip over when he lands on the grass, but more than most microplanes. I think there's absolutely no doubt that he functions on the grass the very best of all of the microplanes with wheels. It's pretty much the only one that will function on the grass at all of the ones that I have with wheels. The carb I put floats on, so that I'm just afraid he's going to blow completely off the table. Anyway, there you go. The UMX Timber.